the last video, I talked about a pattern called rescuing among line managers and team leaders. And of course, the leader, if you're a leader, you're in charge, but it does not mean you have to control everything and you have to save everybody. Rescue is when you take over a problem that belongs to someone else, someone on your team, you correct their mistakes yourself, you hold back information to protect them from the consequences of whatever that is happening, you absorb the pressure coming from above so it never reaches them. And from the outside, it may look like kind, compassionate behavior. Some people may even see this as good leadership, but it takes the decision out of your team's hands, out of this team member's hands, and they do not get to grow. They do not get to learn how to be resourceful, and you end up being responsible for outcomes you cannot control. I use a famous model in psychology called the drama triangle to simplify and explain these situations. There are three key roles in the drama triangle that shape this unhealthy pattern: the victim who cannot cope, the persecutor who is the bad guy and causes the problem, and the rescuer who steps in to save the day. And if you have not watched that video, please go back and check it out. Otherwise, this one may not make so much sense to you. In this video, I want to show you how to transform unhealthy rescue with an empowering form of support for your team without getting burnt out. I have a client story that can help you understand the unhealthy and healthy support, as this is exactly what we worked on in this case. This client was a team leader in procurement. As you know, I have a lot of examples from sourcing and supply chain because that is my background. And their department was going through some serious budget cuts, and she was asked to reduce costs by around 5% in their team. This was quite a big deal for them because this request came at a time when her team was already under-resourced. They have already been cutting costs for so long, and there was no space left. They were like cutting every corner possible. They were very short on headcounts. One team member was on long sick leave, probably burnt out. Another was on parental leave. The few who were left were at their limits and complaining, constantly going on sick leaves. It was not a very, very good environment. The moral was low and people were uncertain about their jobs. Maybe you can resonate. I mean, this is not a very good vibe to have in your team. And then this request from senior management came to her to cut even more costs. And she came to me and said, I'm really worried about this. It's giving me a lot of stress. I can't even imagine bringing my team this news. They just cannot cope with it. And she said something like, senior management is so detached from our reality. Those rich guys do not get it, and they never listen to us. And the team is already upset. They're already frustrated. I cannot do this. And this situation had, of course, happened to her before. Last time, she explained this to me. Actually, it wasn't from the time we were working together. She had decided not to tell the team at all, not to give them any bad news when they're already like going through a tough time, and because she knew that they would be anxious and agitated. So she went through all the documents herself, looking for cost-saving opportunities in her own hours, late at night, whatever she did. And it did not work. She found some possibilities, but it seems she had made some calculation mistakes. She got to know about it very late in a very embarrassing way, and she could not find the savings on her own. She had to bring the bad news to the team late, and by then there was no time left. They missed the target. And she got the blame, of course, from the very team she was trying to protect. And they told her she should have communicated earlier, and she felt betrayed. So this is a scenario that had happened before. And now again, she was put in the same situation. And she was tempted to repeat it. She was again tempted to not to share the news, but she also knew that this didn't work last time very well. And by the way, please don't judge her. She's a very smart leader. I'm just sharing part of her story here, and I'm not sharing the full picture here. But like all of us, she was making bad decisions, out of fear and stress. We are all humans and we make these mistakes without noticing. So when I share like client stories struggling, I always want you to know that it could be you, it could be me. All of us could make these mistakes if we were put in that situation. So anyway, she brought this topic to coaching and we looked into how to stop it. And we looked at the drama triangle. And last time, she had put herself in the rescuer position. She was trying to rescue the team, and the team were the victims, and senior management were the persecutors, the bad guys, detached, unreasonable, the ones who do not get us, the ones who brought this problem to us. And she was carrying a target that belonged to the team, the system, the company. She was just making it hers. So she was protecting a team that maybe did not need that much protection. And this client loved peace, loved harmony, and did not like anger and agitation and big emotions around her. She was doing everything to prevent that from happening. So some of this was probably coming from her. By stepping into the rescuer role last time, she assigned the other two parties the roles of victim and persecutor in her head. And the team never asked for it, the senior management didn't ask for it. This all happened in her head. She just assigned these roles to them. Team is the victim, senior management are, I don't know, the bad guys, the persecutors. And so she created a theater in her head and gave cast everybody in roles. And the roles switched. So how did the roles switch? Because the roles always switch actually in this model. These things are usually not a one-time event. There are patterns. Like, for example, last time she was in this position, she tried to deal with the situation alone. The team heard the bad news very late without the full story and without enough time to respond. By then, she was out of patience. So last time, when she shared it with the team, that she tried her best. She was hoping for some help, some empathy, some maybe thank you from the team that, oh, thank you for protecting us. But all she got was anger that, oh, you informed us very late. So she moved to the prosecutor role in the story, the one who messed it up. She became like the problem in that story. And she was now telling me, last time I did it for this team is actually not that grateful. They do not value my support. This is why I'm not sure I want to protect them this time. But I'm stuck with them and I'm concerned of what happens next. So she had all of these sort of emotions and stories with wondering how to deal with the situation. So have you ever felt like this? When she brought this to coaching, she actually felt like the victim of the story. She started at like a very generous corner of rescuing, this part of the triangle that she's saving, rescuing, and she finished the story at a powerless one. So how did how did we work on her showing up differently this time? She moved from rescuer to supporter role this time. And this is not just for team leaders. This can apply to all kinds of relationships, friendships, or even parenting, you may have noticed. So how did it happen, to going from rescuer to supporter? Healthy support begins with curiosity. You do not assume the person you think is a victim or needs a lot of help cannot handle it. You give them the chance to try and you respect their agency. Then you get clear about ownership. What part of this challenge is mine as a team leader and what part is theirs? What part belongs to the organization? And you do not make random assumptions without evidence in your head. Most of the time we are making a lot of assumptions in our head without even thinking, is it true or not? We just sort of, do it. So it's worth having the conversation openly, maybe with your team, maybe with I don't know, other managers you trust, maybe with your senior leaders, your line manager, depending like who you can actually get better clarity from. So being specific about the support you can give or you cannot give, and make your own judgment around it. And this is where coaching skills for team leaders makes your job much easier. Because when you coach, you're not telling the team what to do and you're not doing their work. You help them use what they already have to make the best decisions, think more clearly, and work more effectively. You could ask them, like, what do you need in this situation to do your job better? Just like, what I do as coach with my clients very often, I'm not telling them what to do. We explore the situation, they do their own thinking, because I'm a stranger at the end, but I kind of help them to navigate that situation in a way that they can actually observe and see things from a different point of view. So rescue replaces the other person's agency with your work, and you do not protect your team by keeping every difficulty away from them. You protect them by making sure responsibility, resources, expectations, and consequences are distributed fairly, and by helping them build that capacity within themselves to handle what is theirs, what is their job. So let's go back to the triangles, from drama triangle to winner triangle in this 5% cost reduction case. So you remember the story I just shared about my client and her team and 5% cost reduction in a situation where there seemed no hope for any more costs to be reduced. This time, when we talked together, she did not want to repeat the same scenario. In the new scenario, we tried to see how the drama triangle could be transformed into a winner triangle. The roles of rescuer, victim, prosecutor could be, like, I call it like alchemized. It's like alchemy, like how you turn something into gold and change into empowering roles. And the mandate is still the same. So it's not that she went to the senior leaders and negotiated anything. This team still has to reduce 5% of costs out of thin air. The team still has the limits. Because in many situations, you cannot really change things if you have some kind of unreasonable expectation to deal with. So, and she still, as a team leader, disagrees with the senior managers with this request. None of that has changed. Still a very difficult situation to handle. So this time, she decided she is not absorbing the pain. And the 5% cost reduction coming from senior management is a fact, is a business topic. And she has to treat it as fact, not as something loaded emotionally. And this is something we do. Sometimes we just add a lot of extra emotions to everything, which doesn't need to be. So she's not delivering senior management's message as their representative, and she's not editing it as the team's defender. She's just delivering information. She holds it as information. Information the team is supposed to have, like every other business information, it's just data. I know it sounds very simple and obvious, but it wasn't to her to start, and it wasn't obvious to a lot of people. So if it is obvious to you, please don't judge. These things happen all the time. So this team leader, she's holding a more objective and less emotionally loaded role this time. And so there is less judgment around, like, this is fact and data she's dealing with. And she stops casting people into roles, assigning roles, like casting people in her head. This is the victim, this is a bad guy, this is a good guy. The team is not cast as unable to deal with this as victims. Whether the 5% is achievable is a question they are qualified to answer. So it is their answer to give and not hers to give on their behalf. And that is something she became clear on this time. It was not comfortable, but she saw it from a different perspective. So the team needs to hear it, although it is bad news on top of a lot of other bad news they have heard. Senior management is also not cast as detached and naive or unreasonable. Yes, maybe they are detached, maybe they do not know what is going on in the lower levels of the company. It doesn't matter. Your team's emotions is not yours to manage. And I don't mean it in a way that is not empathic. We are not responsible for other people's emotions. And the team may not like the bad news, but everyone is entitled to their own emotions. You're not always, you cannot always manage other people's tantrum. And in the drama version, she treated the imaginary anger as something she caused and she had to manage. Sometimes we have to observe and allow people to have their emotions. In the healthy version, the anger is a response anyone can have to a situation like this, to bad news or whatever that is bothering them. That anger belongs to the person who has the emotion. It's not yours. And they can have their emotions. It is everyone's responsibility to manage their own emotions. All you can do is manage your own emotions and provide a calm and safe environment so hopefully others co-regulate with you and you're not adding to the drama, you're not feeding more to it. You have to be patient, observe, and let the team have their emotions. Let the people be angry if they need to. This is, I think, a lot of people forget about, that sometimes it's okay to allow people to just experience what they have to feel. So in the winner triangle, we may not be able to transform all the roles into drama triangle, but when one role, we have control changes, we already activate change in other corners of the triangle, and we can at least encourage healthier behavior and create a healthier, safer environment. For example, the victim can, instead of helpless victim, they can just become the vulnerable one. You can admit you're struggling, ask for help, and still own the problem. Or the rescuer can become the caring one who supports, who cares. You support people, you show empathy, you let them grow, navigate their emotions, but you don't need to save them. And the persecutor becomes just the assertive one. You state your limits and your needs clearly, objectively, without shaming or blaming or loading the news with emotions. And you only control one corner, of course. You cannot really control other people's behavior that much. So in this case, my client could not make senior management change their mind or make her team think or feel differently. What she could do was move from the rescuer role to the caring one. The team gets the information and a chance to respond, so they are no longer cast as victims, people who cannot cope. And senior management becomes a group with a business demand rather than the bad guys. They just have this expectation, and everyone is entitled to their emotions and judgment. And if you wonder what happened to this client, actually, I do not have a miracle story to tell you. She shared the bad news with her team. Everybody had a job to search in their own area for opportunities for cost reduction, and they could actually find some. I think at the end they could reduce 2 or 3%, not exactly the 5% target, and the management was not thrilled, but they accepted. And they could see that the team put in the effort to find opportunities. And I hope this video helped you to see how some seemingly harmless and nice behaviors can actually be unhealthy and harm us and our team. And if this is something that you want to work on, as a leader, as a line manager, you can book a call with me and let's explore how I can help you. In the next video, I go through the habits that make you a popular manager but sabotage your career at the same time. I will see you there.